Hello everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of the Listening Road. My name is Jose Gonzalez, but you can call me Mr. Gonzalez as most of my students do. I'm so excited to be your host on this journey. This podcast is aimed at helping you develop your listening skills, especially if you're an intermediate English student. So prepare your headphones and let's get started without further ado. First, I'll talk about myself so you can get to know me a little bit better. I'm a 34-year-old language teacher. I've worked for almost 15 years teaching English to people from different ages, and since the pandemic, I've been teaching Spanish as well. I'm currently living in Colombia, but I'm from Venezuela. As an English teacher, I've had the opportunity to meet students and teachers from many different backgrounds and cultures. One thing I love about teaching is how it connects us. Despite our differences, the desire to learn and improve brings us together. In this podcast, I want to create a space where we can explore the English language and dive into various topics in a fun way. So, what can you expect from our episodes? I'll introduce different topics every week to help improve your English skills. We might talk about cultural festivals worldwide, discuss some of the books I'm reading, and movies I've watched recently, or even go through common phrases and vocabulary you may hear in everyday conversations. But it's not just about the language. I believe that learning should be enjoyable and interesting, so expect plenty of stories, tips, and my occasional insights on language learning. I want you to feel motivated and inspired as you practice your listening and comprehension skills. Now, you may wonder how to get the most out of these episodes. Here are a few tips. Number 1. Listen actively. When you listen to the podcast, try to focus on understanding the main ideas and key details. Don't worry if you miss a word. It happens to all of us. Just keep listening. Number 2. Take notes. Jot down new words or phrases you hear in a notebook or your notes app. This will help you remember and use them in your own conversations. From time to time, I'll help you figure out the meaning of some of the words or expressions that may be hard for you to get. 3. Engage with the content. I encourage you to think about how the topics we discuss relate to your own life. You can even pause the episode at any time to reflect on what I've said. 4. Share your thoughts. I want this podcast to be interactive. I'd love to hear from you. You can submit questions or topics you'd like to learn about in future episodes. Let's create a community where we can learn from each other. Finally, remember that it's okay to make mistakes when you talk. Don't be afraid to speak your mind, even if you're unsure or hesitant about the grammar you use. Each time you express yourself, you're growing and becoming more confident. This very first episode airs on a special day, February the 14th, Valentine's Day. This date is all about showing affection to those we care about. But did you know that countries around the world celebrate Valentine's Day in different ways? Let's take a little journey and explore some of them. First, let's start with the US, a place where around 190 million Valentine's Day cards are exchanged each year. That's a lot, if you ask me. I've never gotten one of these myself. As I said before, I'm from Venezuela, and we don't normally do this. However, I used to watch people exchanging Valentine's Day cards on TV when I was a kid on shows like The Simpsons. In Japan, Valentine's Day is quite unique. On this day, women give chocolates to the men in their lives. There are two types of chocolates: giri choco, which are chocolates for friends or colleagues, and homemade choco, which are for someone special, like a boyfriend or husband. The men then return the favor a month later on White Day, which is celebrated on March the 14th. What do you think about that? Would you be okay if a woman gave you some sort of sweet on Valentine's Day? Meanwhile, in Italy, Valentine's Day is a romantic occasion that dates back to ancient times. Traditionally, lovers exchange gifts like sweets and flowers, especially roses. In fact, many couples also take a romantic stroll to enjoy beautiful scenes together, making it a lovely day filled with love and beauty. Now, I love the idea of just wandering around the city with a loved one just for fun. I enjoy walking, so that would be a nice thing for me to do. Let's take a trip to South Korea. Here, Valentine's Day is celebrated, but it doesn't stop there. While women give chocolates to men on February the 14th, there's another special occasion on March the 14th called White Day, just like in Japan. Then, to add even more festivities, there's an amusing day called Black Day on April the 14th. This date is for people who didn't receive anything on Valentine's Day or White Day. They eat black noodles to comfort themselves. It's a fun twist showing that love can be celebrated in various ways. Now, in some countries like Denmark or Norway, people have a fun tradition called joke letters. Friends and partners send playful and anonymous letters to each other. Part of the fun is trying to guess who sent the letter, and this adds an element of surprise and fun. Just like a little treasure hunt. In my case, I'm not good at getting anonymous love letters or messages from strangers, so I don't think I'll personally enjoy this. In France, Valentine's Day has a history of being the best day for proposals. It's not uncommon to see couples getting engaged on this romantic day. This is not surprising considering that Paris is the city of love. We now move on to Colombia, where I currently live. Here, people don't care much about Valentine's Day being celebrated on February the 14th. For them, love and friendship are celebrated in September, which is odd for me because, as I said before, I'm from Venezuela and we do celebrate Valentine's Day in February. So as you can see, Valentine's Day is not just about flowers or chocolates. It's about celebrating love in many different ways around the world. It brings people together, whether it's through kind gestures, heartfelt gifts, or simply spending quality time. The last segment of the day is related to earworms. Now, if you're not familiar with the term earworm, let me explain. An earworm is a catchy piece of music that gets stuck in your head, playing over and over again. They can be songs you love, songs you tolerate, or even songs you can't stand, but somehow they just won't leave your mind. So how do these musical intruders get into our minds? Earworms typically have a few common characteristics. First, they often have a simple and repetitive melody. Think of those tunes that you can't help but hum even when you're not actively listening to them. Secondly, lyrics that resonate with us can amplify the earworm effect. Whether they evoke strong emotions or tell a relatable story, good lyrics can make a song unforgettable. One song that instantly comes to mind is Don't Stop Believing by Journey. This classic rock anthem has been getting folks singing along since the 80s. With its infectious chorus and uplifting message, a simple cover of this song on TV shows like Glee had me singing it over and over again on my way to university back then. Another notorious earworm is Pharrell Williams' Happy. The upbeat tempo, combined with the simple yet cheerful lyrics, makes this song nearly impossible to forget. You can almost feel the energy of the song. It's a joyful anthem that can elevate your mood, but also it can pop into your head when you least expect it. Interestingly, earworms are not just a modern phenomenon. The concept dates back centuries. Classic composers like Beethoven and Mozart created catchy melodies that still resonate today. Think of Beethoven's Ode to Joy. Its simple and memorable melody carries through generations, proving that earworms have a timeless quality. So why do we find earworms so captivating, and why do they stick? Research suggests that these catchy tunes engage our brain's reward system, releasing dopamine, our feel-good chemical, every time we think about or hear that song. It's a mix of psychology and music that keeps those catchy tunes at the forefront of our minds. I first learned about this phenomenon years ago while watching The Big Bang Theory, and one of the main characters of the show is going mad by just trying to figure out an earworm he's got. As it turns out, the song is called Darling by the Beach Boys, but it takes him almost the whole episode to figure it out as he keeps humming the melody and not only driving himself crazy, but those around him. As we wrap up this segment, I'll just tell you that I often get earworms. However, it doesn't take me a long time to know which song it is, but it's just because I listen to music whenever I'm not teaching. Now, what songs continuously find their way back into your head? Are they from your childhood or more recent hits? Whatever they are, embrace the joy and occasional frustration they bring. After all, music is meant to connect us and highlight our shared experiences. Well, guys, thank you for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. I'm looking forward to sharing some knowledge, stories, and experiences with you. Let's make learning English a joyful and enriching journey together. Have a good day.